time has no time for runners-up. It banishes them to the shadows, allowing all the more light to be shown on the victors. For those that succeed, grand ballrooms are erected in permanent reverence, replete with glittering chandeliers and highlights reels playing on the walls. For those that do not, who come so close yet finish so far, their achievements reside down darkened corridors, stored away in boxes behind unmarked doors, many of which are locked. Within one of these fusty backrooms, Aston Villa's title challenge of 1992-93 can be found. They deserve better. Big Ron and his boys, who tour into the Premier League's inaugural season in a mad kit that had laces around the collar and a blue circle around the neckline. They deserve a ballroom of their own, significantly smaller perhaps than the one that forever lauds the eventual champions, with its imposing statue of Steve Bruce heading home against Sheffield Wednesday deep into Fergie time, taking pride and center, but a ballroom nonetheless. They deserve to be remembered and celebrated too. Why, you may ask, about a side that, in harsh assessment, can be deemed to be just another what-if story from an abundance of what-if stories that litter football, sport and life. After all, 25 years ago today, Villa also beat Sheffield Wednesday to go 2 points clear with just 8 games left. Had they navigated these fixtures with the same brio and belief that had lifted them to the summit, they would surely have paraded around Villa Park that year with the shiny new Premier League trophy and qualified for the newfangled Champions League into the bargain. The ramifications of Manchester United's league quest trundling into its 27th season, meanwhile, can only be speculated upon, and when all of this is put together, it suggests a vastly different landscape of English football to what we know to be true today. Only Villa didn't continue with their ambitious endeavour. Instead, they won just 3 times more, and their capitulation on the final straight ultimately afforded United the opportunity to fulfill their destiny. Furthermore, by doing so they changed their own to that of one season nearly meant, a curio to be dusted off on anniversaries to remind ourselves of what might have been before being flung back to the recesses of our memories, their achievement diminished by time. So why exactly do these bottlers warrant a legacy? Fair enough, you make a strong point, and perhaps it's one half agreed with here, because what is this if not a reminder of a campaign where Villa had greatness in their sights only to stumble and fall? Yet that would only be concentrating on the sorry conclusion, the very bit that time picks out to determine who we recall and why. Before all that, there was splendor to spare. BBC journalist Jamie Whitehead is a lifelong villain whose football awakening began in the summer of 1992. His timing was both perfect and unfortunate. Being 10 years old and Villa going top with 8 games to go didn't feel especially magic or special, it just felt like that was what happened back then. Supporting a team in your first season as a fan is weird. Have a bad one and you're conditioned to think your team are terrible. Have an uncharacteristically good one and you get a distorted impression of what you're really like. You can argue the latter is worse. You could, and given that the rest of Jamie's supporting life to this point has consisted of 2 League Cup successes that are paled by numerous seasons of underachievement, relegation, and recoiling at Tim Sherwood's let then ample sympathy is due. Yet there is also some jealousy at experiencing firsthand as a child the joy of watching Dalian Atkinson and Dean Saunders run amok in attacking tandem, the sheer thrill of marvelling on a weekly basis at Paul McGrath's pass at peak, and there on the right twinkling and scurrying Ray Houghton before his legs would tire around the 80-minute mark and he'd make way for the human road runner Tony Daly. It was a great team to watch from afar. It must have been brilliant to view it with emotion.